I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Welcome once again, boos and ghouls, to this year's awfully good Halloween special, as we celebrate the most spectacular time of the year. And though I'm guessing many of you viewers are a little too old for fun-sized candies and bobbing for apples, I'm sure you're just the right age for watching some Halloween-related movies. And if you're sick of rewatching your Monster Squads and your Hocuses Pocuses in order to relive your childhood, then perhaps you would enjoy a flick that was a childhood favorite of mine, the 1989 family fantasy Little Monsters. I mean, this flick fits perfectly for Halloween, since it's a film about a spooky subject all of us were familiar with in our childhoods, the monsters which we thought hid under our beds. Plus, this movie stars two of the hottest TV stars of the 1980s, Fred Savage from The Wonder Years and Howie Mandel from St. Elsewhere. And it was the first screenplay from the guys who would write such classics as Aladdin, the first four Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and Shrek. And according to IMDb, this is the movie that helped inspire Pixar's Monsters Incorporated. And I know for a fact that IMDb would never lie to me. But even with all this notable pedigree, Little Monsters was indeed very little in its impact at the box office, making less than 800 grand. Hell, Rotten Tomatoes doesn't even bother giving it a tomato meter. The hell, dude? Nevertheless, it gained quite a cult following on home video, so I'm gonna see if I can spook up those same fond feelings that I had for this flick when I was a kid. Seriously, I wore this VHS tape out back in the day. And not only did I love the movie, but I also loved the ad before the movie for the Little Monsters Hotline contest. Kick it, DJ!
The Little Monsters movie is about to begin, but before it does, I'm gonna fill you in. Want to win some super prizes when you're not alone? Cause the fun's as close as your telephone. Dial M for Monsters!
Yes, I think it's obvious that the greatest rap song to come out in 1989 did not belong to Public Enemy. It belonged to the Little Motherfucking Monsters! Unfortunately, this contest had expired by the time I watched the movie, but thankfully, I went out and got myself that prized Fred Savage autograph. Dear Mr. Shade, here is your autograph. Now please stop attending my son's soccer practices, or I'll get the police involved. Oh, that Kevin Arnold, he's still got it. Now, moving on to Paul Pfeiffer's autograph. So the film opens with the narration of little Brian Stevenson, played by Fred Savage, who tells us he's just moved to a new suburban house with the rest of his family, where he sneaks downstairs in the middle of the night to eat a peanut butter and onion sandwich, because 80s movie kids are quirky like that. But his parents are woken up by the screams of his little brother Eric, played by Fred Savage's actual little brother, Ben Savage. And Eric is convinced he saw a monster under his bed, and must be convinced otherwise by their dad Glenn, played by Daniel Stern.
Under the bed? Under the bed?
No, Dad, don't! Yuck.
So yes, we've got a movie where old Kevin Arnold plays the father of young Kevin Arnold. This is the greatest sequel to Looper that I have ever seen. The next morning, we see how miserable Eric is in his new school, as he gets in a fistfight with school bully Ronnie Coleman, played by Buzz McAllister from Home Alone.
The principal!
Break it up!
I was just showing Brian what he did to my shirt, and he pushed me away.
Stevenson, you're new here, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think we better have a little talk. In my office, you have rules to learn.
And after I'm through with you, young man, I'm going to yell at Ernest P. Worrell for ruining my brand new car, then have a talk with Alpha House about who put a banana up the school mascot's butthole, because I am the stereotypical stiff authority figure from every comedy movie. But he's also pretty miserable at home, too, when he gets blamed for leaving his bike in front of his dad's car and ruining his dad's shirt with a melted container of ice cream.
You dead, mister?
Hey, I didn't do anything.
Brian thinks his brother framed him, but Eric insists that it was the monster under his bed. So they make a bet to switch rooms for the night to find out, and Brian indeed finds proof of a monster underneath his brother's bed. And since this movie's already got two cast members of Home Alone in it, why shouldn't Brian set up an ingenious trap to catch this monster under the bed, who happens to be a blue-skinned and mischievous creature by the name of Maurice, played by Howie Mandel. And he looks looks and acts as if Beetlejuice dressed up as the genie from Aladdin for Halloween and then snorted all the cocaine that Robin Williams threw out after he had gotten sober.
I'll scream.
Scream! Got an idea! You know what? You scream, your dad's gonna come in here with a 12-gauge shotgun. Oh, blow your head off. Baseball cards. I love baseball cards. Got 'em, need 'em, got 'em, need 'em, got 'em. Stevenson, go for the long bomb. Light! The sun! The sun! Ow! What? Horse. Great. Now nobody's gonna recognize me.
Oh, great. Now how the hell is Howie gonna be able to do his rubber glove bit? He can't fit a glove over those horns. When Maurice comes back the next night, he decides to bring Brian along with him underneath the bed into the world of his fellow monsters. And here they get to do all of the things that kids aren't allowed to do under the watch of their parents.
What goes on down there is every kid's fantasy. Watching whatever it is you want to watch on TV. You want to watch Letterman? You want to watch the Playboy Channel?
Oh, by the way, this film is rated PG.
Free ball! Free ball!
Hey, what are you doing? You're insulting!
Down here, there's no such thing as tilting.
Of course you do know, Brian, that the one catch to getting to do all of this is that you have to swear allegiance to the Shredder and the Foot Clan and promise you will kill the Ninja Turtles. But we'll worry about that later. In the midst of all this fun, Maurice and his fellow monsters go to work transporting themselves from underneath the beds of any kid across the globe, scaring the living daylights out of them and wreaking destruction across their houses that the parents will end up blaming on the kids the next morning.
Peter!
I'm innocent. I'll take a lie detector test.
It's because I'm working, isn't it?
Do you want to go to military school?
You see, it's funny, because those parents are gonna punish their kids for something that they never did, which might lead to the parents divorcing, or the kid growing up to be a serial killer. Fun! Also, I think that this little blonde girl here is on some good shit. So as you can see, this alleged kids movie has got a lot of fucked up shit in it. And nothing is more fucked up than the prank which Brian and Maurice pull on his school bully. It's one thing to replace the tuna fish on a sandwich with cat food, but it's a whole other thing for Maurice to empty out his bottle of apple juice and fill it back up with his piss.
What'd you eat today, man?
Ronnie's gonna be pissed.
Again, this movie is rated PG.
Piss! Who put piss in my apple juice?
Well, little does Ronnie know that his apple juice has been replaced with some of Granny's peach tea. Now let's watch as Lex Luthor detonates the bomb he placed in little Jimmy Schaefer's wheelchair. Then the film really kicks into mentally scarring the children when it introduces the villainous monster of the story named Snick, played by Rick Ducommun, who you may recognize out of this makeup as the guy who appeared in pretty much every movie you grew up on in the 90s.
I'm gonna take my big thumb and jam it in your eye! I like taking my two big black leather gloved hands and grabbing your head and
Okay, two things here. First off, rated PG. Secondly, if I hadn't seen Hugo, I would have thought that this is what a kid's movie directed by Martin Scorsese would have looked like.
You make me pop your fucking eye out of your head to protect that piece of shit, Charlie M.
Squash your fucking head like a grapefruit.
You motherfucker, you!
And as the film progresses, Brian discovers that with every night he spends with the monsters, he's slowly turning into a monster himself. He starts wearing sunglasses during the day, his height is shrinking, and his arm disappears when exposed to light. I would say it's sort of like the Lost Boys, but that would be an insult to both Corey Haim and the shirtless saxophone guy. And after Maurice tries to get Brian to join the monsters in scaring a baby, Brian decides that he's had enough.
Stop it!
Brian, relax, okay?
Maurice, this is cruel.
I'm sorry, did you forget the shit that you just pulled a few days ago?
Oh, right, Maurice, that's great!
You no longer get to decide what's considered cruel anymore. So Snick is angry that Brian won't become a monster, and retaliates by kidnapping his brother Eric so that Eric can be held hostage by the ruler of the monster world, who's simply named Boy, played by the guy who played Brett in Pulp Fiction. Hey, wait a minute, I thought Ben Savage was supposed to be Boy meets World.
I'll let them all go. And your brother, if you'll stay and be my pal.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
I want my brother!
Holy shit, did Fred Savage get briefly possessed by the spirit of Sam Kinison?
I want my brother!
So you may think by now that I've only come to rag on this beloved movie of my childhood, but it still holds a special place in my heart. I mean, I can certainly see why so many people dislike it, because this movie has got some big problems. They don't develop most of these monster characters beyond one scene. You may find it hard to root for characters who do such horrible things to innocent kids. And you can clearly tell this movie had to cut some corners in the budget, as you can tell in this shot.
Hang on!
Yeah, I strongly suspect that little kid in Where the Wild Things Are pajamas was not Howie Mandel. But amidst all of this sloppy production and abrupt shifts in tone, the soul of this movie still shines through, especially at the point where Brian finds out his parents are separating. It's a bit personal for me, seeing as my parents were splitting up around the time that I saw this movie. But it does make a good point about how children embrace fantasy so that they can escape from real-life tragedy, even though that point does get lost amidst all of this crazy shit. And sure, Howie Mandel is annoying, but the friendship between him and Fred Savage remains very touching and believable.
He was the best friend I've ever had.
You're the ugliest friend I ever had.
So even though this is a case of a good concept for a movie that's been dumbed down and grossed up to appeal to the kids, I still think there's enough good in here that balances out the bad. And it's definitely worth another watch on this Halloween season. And of course, we dedicate this review to the memory of the Little Monsters rap group, who died in their infamous East Coast-West Coast battle with Freddy Freaker. Make sure you pay your respects by dialing 1-900-POUR-1-OUT. Kids, ask your parents for permission before dialing. And though you fight to stay sober, your beer glass is to blame for helping you this Halloween to play the awfully good drinking game. Take a shot or drink every time another monster turns into clothes when exposed to bright light.
What's going on?
Bacon and eggs, kid. What do you want? Sunny side up or over easy?
Huh, so I guess Howie Mandel had a thing for playing creatures who were hurt by bright lights back in the 80s. Well shit, I sure hope to God that Maurice can't also multiply if you get him wet. You see another shooting star soar across the screen. Ah, now I know where this monster world is located. It's in the warehouse where they keep all the unused graphics for NBC's The More You Know PSAs. Howie Mandel calls someone Bud.
Hey, bud, 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 bud.
Yeah, Maurice, I think you need to smoke some bud in order to calm your ass down. You hear them say a curse word.
Hell, Jesus, damn.
Piss! Piss!
Shit.
And take a double shot when they say the title of the movie in the actual movie.
Kidnapped him? Which monsters? The little monsters. Little monsters.
Then take another double shot when Howie Mandel's hand turns into a dog.
Man's best friend. His right hand.
Well, hey, if he ever masturbates with that hand, then he'll really be giving that dog a bone. See, because the dick is a bone. And on the nudity watch, this movie gets away with even more twisted shit. Not just because Fred Savage is seen watching girls in bikinis on his TV, but because he spends a shocking amount of this movie just wearing his boxer shorts.
Maurice.
Holy hell! The only way you could make this movie any creepier is if it was directed by the guy who made Jeepers Creepers, had a theme song sung by Gary Glitter, and added Jeffrey Jones to the cast.
Don't you have anybody else in your life besides your mother who wears an over-the-shoulder boulder holder? Great!
On the enjoyableness continuum scale from Boulder Bruce, Little Monsters deserves to be as much of a Halloween tradition as naughty nurse costumes or doing the Monster Mash, and spooks up an 8 out of 10. If you thought Real Monsters needed more ripping people's heads off of their bodies, then this film is just the trick. Or treat. Huh? I'm Jesse Shea for JoBlo.com, and I hope all of you awesome viewers out there will have the happiest of Halloween. And so concluded another Awfully Good Movies Halloween special. The end.
Jesus, Grandpa, what did you read me this thing for?
Because I wanted to get back at you for replacing my apple juice with your piss, you little piece of shit!